To win Tehran is to win the narrative. Tens of thousands joined the funeral, and with tears and anger they told the United States, "We will never bow." Can you imagine it? Air raid sirens were screaming overhead, and missile blasts were echoing just a few kilometers away. But Tehran's Revolution Square was still packed with people. They were not running to shelters. They were there to say goodbye. On April 1st, a farewell ceremony was held in Tehran for several senior commanders, including IRGC Navy Commander Tangsiri and Armed Forces Advisor Ahaki. Tens of thousands flooded the streets. Some covered their faces and wept. Some held up portraits of the dead. Others shouted, "Down with America! Down with Israel!" A 71-year-old woman named Fatima held up the national flag and said, "They killed Tangsiri, but there are hundreds, even thousands more who can replace him. We will fight to the last drop of blood." This was not just an official political show. While the funeral was underway, heavy explosions were heard again across eastern, northern, and southern Tehran. Thick smoke rose, and buildings shook violently. But the march did not break up, and the people did not run. They raised their flags higher and shouted their slogans louder. A retired man at the scene put it bluntly, "In the face of the brutal regimes of the United States and Israel, resistance is our natural strength. We will rise and resist." So what signal was this funeral sending? What are Iranians really thinking? And how is the outside world reading it? First and most directly, this was not just a funeral. It was a mass rally for revenge. Who was Tangsiri? He was a corps commander in Iran's Strait of Hormuz blockade operations. Why did the United States and Israel target him? Because his position gave Iran leverage over a route that carries about 1/5 of the world's oil. After he was killed, Iran did not choose silence. It turned the funeral into a battlefield. The hearse moved slowly from Revolution Square toward the Martyrs' Cemetery, while mourners packed the roads all along the route. A retired Revolutionary Guard member said something unforgettable. "The Iranian people are more united than ever before. We call on everyone to stay in the streets, because that is a huge help to the soldiers on the front line." Do you understand what that means? The tears and anger of the people become ammunition for the fighters at the front. Second, at the official level, from the supreme leadership to parliament to the foreign ministry, everyone used this funeral to rally the nation. That same day, Iran's supreme leadership publicly spoke again, reaffirming the continued blockade of the Strait of Hormuz as a countermeasure and saying other possible fronts were also under study. The message was clear. Your bombs cannot destroy our will. If anything, they are forcing us to find new ways to fight back. That same day, President Pezeshkian sent an open letter to the American people, saying Iran held no hostility toward ordinary Americans and urging them to see through the fog of war propaganda. That message was aimed at international opinion. We are not the mad side in this story. The American public is being misled by its own government. Iran's parliament speaker Ghalibaf went even further, saying that 7 million Iranians were prepared to take up arms if the United States launched a ground invasion. Whether that number is real or not, the point of saying it was obvious. If you want a ground war, we will fight it to the end. Third, the mood inside Iran is more complicated than many people think. But right now the country does appear unusually united. Yes, there have long been dissenting voices inside Iran, but war has a brutal logic. When a foreign enemy attacks, internal divisions often give way to nationalism. On March 13th, and even under the threat of airstrikes, people in Tehran still gathered on Revolution Street, chanting anti-American and anti-Israeli slogans. One local resident said it plainly. "I came here to make the enemy understand that bombing cannot stop us from showing up on the battlefield." Another detail speaks volumes. In mid-March, reports said an elementary school in Minab was hit in a U.S.-Israeli airstrike, killing at least 165 people, most of them girls around 10 years old. That incident set off an explosion of anger inside Iran. Some interviewees said the children were completely innocent and that America only knows how to bully the weak. That kind of anger is not something the authorities can simply manufacture. To many people, it feels like a real blood debt. At the same time, to be fair, Iran is not internally monolithic. Some foreign reports say the war is tearing families apart, with fierce arguments breaking out between relatives who support it and those who oppose it. To preserve order, Iran has even reportedly recruited children as young as 12 to help man checkpoints. That shows Tehran also fears unrest at home. But for now, faced with relentless US and Israeli bombing, most Iranians do not seem focused on overthrowing their own government. Their first instinct is to drive out the attacker. That may be the biggest miscalculation the United States and Israel made at the start of this war. They thought the bombs would ignite chaos inside Iran. Instead, the bombs seem to have pulled many Iranians closer together. Fourth, how is the outside world reacting? Trump had just given a national address claiming the U.S. military had achieved a rapid, decisive, overwhelming victory, and warning that within 2 to 3 weeks he could bomb Iran back to the Stone Age. But Iran answered with an even harder line. After Ghalibaf's remarks about 7 million people ready to fight, Foreign Ministry spokesman Baghai said, "As long as this illegal war continues, and as long as the enemy keeps attacking our people and our cities, Iran will keep resisting until the enemy surrenders." What makes this even more awkward for Washington is that anti-war sentiment is rising internationally. Protests have broken out in many places, with people calling for an end to the strikes on Iran and a chance for peace. Even polling suggested support for the war inside the United States was weakening too. So we return to the original question. What does this farewell ceremony really mean? In my view, it marks a new phase in Iran's wartime resolve. Before, it was mainly the government and the Revolutionary Guard fighting. Now the whole society is being drawn in. From elderly women in Tehran to residents of small southern port towns, from retired soldiers to civil engineers, everyone is being pulled into it. One Iranian engineer at the scene said something especially painful. "Even if our children and loved ones are killed by American and Israeli missiles, we will remain strong. We will never give up." At this point, the outcome of the war is no longer just about missile accuracy. The real battlefield is inside the heart of every Iranian. And on April 1st, the tears and shouts of tens of thousands of people in Revolution Square had already given the world their answer.